Adam, you laid out kind of a good news, bad news scenario. Let's get with the good news first. Smooth sailing today as this place got opened up with 600 people vaccinated here at this new site at Montgomery College in Germantown. Among them, a young man named Keller Troutman.
I'm both a student and work at a university, and as we were gearing up to go back in person, I was getting really anxious at how actually being able to get the vaccine so that if we go in person.
For now, this walk-in mass vaccination site at Montgomery College, Germantown is for Montgomery County residents only, run by the local health department to vaccinate as many as 1,000 residents per day. Beginning next week, state authorities come in with substantial resources and more vaccine to double the capacity. At that point, any state resident with an appointment can come here. County leaders today praised the opening of the site, but warned there is a surge in virus cases now underway, as statewide virus restrictions have been rolled back. The county's chief health officer, Dr. Travis Gales, gave a briefing with data on the screen.
When that decision was made, the statewide test positivity was 3.36%. When we look at where we are today, the test positivity for the state has more than doubled. It's at 5.3.
So we are seeing increases.
Montgomery County Executive Mark Elrich blamed Maryland Governor Larry Hogan for allowing reopening, particularly in restaurants.
When the governor made his announcement, I commented saying that I thought this was going to lead to another spike. It has pretty much led to another spike. We have arrived.
Governor Larry Hogan put the focus on vaccination efforts today, announcing that more than 70,000 residents were vaccinated yesterday, a record, and pointing out that more than 75% of older Marylanders are now vaccinated. Okay, back here at Montgomery College in Germantown, the mass vac site managers are expecting that they'll be able to vaccinate as many as 3,000 people per day once the state of Maryland comes in and takes over next week. Reporting live in Germantown, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
So Scott, how about some things that we need to know about how this new site works and how do people sign up to get a shot there?
Okay, we're talking about in Maryland now. In Maryland, especially here in Montgomery County, the advice from county leaders today was to pre-register, get your computer out, pre-register on both the county's vaccination site and the state mass vac site. Doesn't matter how old you are because these eligibility categories are opening up, and if you register in both of those places, you have a much better chance of getting an appointment earlier from either a local site like this one or a state mass vac site.
Yeah, great advice. We need people to take advantage of that as soon as possible. Scott, thank you.